He sets the tone, he looks around, she follows his lead, she looks where he looks. He stops, he pulls her around, pause.
Hit your button.
Got it. Okay, so in those first 14 seconds, you could really see the dominant behavior from Kanye. Setting the direction, setting the pace, and where and when they stop, everything, right? There's an element of this that is protective, where you see him standing between her and essentially the threat that is the crowd. But what less people are noticing is he's not giving her her own space. He's holding her against the wall. Basically, he's putting her into a negative space. That's a way of subconsciously reminding her that she is dependent on him. This whole thing could be happening where she has 3 feet of red carpet behind her, but that's not how it's unfolding. Instead, he has all this carpet in front of him, and she has a very narrow trail that she's allowed to walk on in this exchange. Now, pulls her around like this, he initiates the turn, and he initiates this discussion. So whatever's happening in this discussion, Kanye's the one talking. Now, as we continue to watch the discussion, we'll have to watch what the body language communicates. So let's go ahead and hit play. All right, stop again. Did you notice anything in the head movements of the 2 people talking?
Ooh. I don't think I did. Oh, no.
Bianca has a very brief but very clear moment where she shakes her head no. And then she stops shaking her head, and then just about a half a beat after that, you see her nod yes. And then they back into these positions. Now, in this position, there's 2 things that are important. First, you see Bianca's going into a performative, what we call a performative. That means it's rehearsed, it's planned, it's visualized. She's going into a performative position with herself. You'll see as she moves forward with her fur coat and she turns her back. So she's going into a performative stance. Where Kanye is doing something we call crotch display.
Oh.
Crotch display is a highly dominant and narcissistic maneuver where men focus attention on their crotch. It's difficult to interpret purpose behind a crotch display. Sometimes it's a sign of vulnerability. Sometimes it's a sign of dominance. When we watch the whole thing through, there is about a half second where he shows vulnerable crotch display. And I'll show that to you. But what you're about to see from now through the...
Vulnerable or dominant crotch display. I found it very interesting. I'm actually Egyptian. Black is a color. Thank you for watching. Yeah, this is definitely not, a Natural Geographic channel. If you want to watch that, go look in the mirror. Crotch display is a sign. This CIA agent is pretty much decoding body language. That's the channel. Lisa, just look up Spot Lies in 3 seconds and it'll pop up. And they're pretty much decoding the physical displays on people in their public interactions with the Kanye West and his new wife's display when she, kind of wore that nudity type revealing outfit. As to crotch display being a sign of control and dominance, like a narcissist type of thing, as opposed to it being it could be the polar opposite of vulnerability. But, it's pretty much learning manipulative patterns, ultimately. Thank you. You're just joking about what? All you said was hi. Hi, everyone. How y'all doing? Where y'all at? Thank you for the like, share, subscribes.
Entire movement across across the stage is dominant crotch display from Kanye. So go ahead and hit play. So there she's turning her back. She's doing what she has rehearsed, and that is your crotch display from Kanye. Hips pushed forward, hands paralleling the crotch. He's holding this position, a very dominant position, as his property is displayed to the audience. If you look at Bianca's face and her movements throughout all of this, you'll see how uncomfortable and how self-conscious she is. You see as she tries to find out how to cross her legs, how to balance on those heels.
Can I press the stop button? Stop. Okay, so what's happening right here? So he was right next to her, to your point, like almost zero space between her.
Correct.
And now he's actively stepped quite a far back, turned his body, and now he's got his hands behind his back. What is that meaning?
So what you're seeing here is he is directing the scene. So when she dropped the fur coat, he directed someone to come pick up the fur coat. The fact that somebody was on call to do that shows that this was also communicated with his staff. And then he's giving the cameras a chance to focus on just her. So this is him further displaying his woman. So he's stepping off to the side. The hands behind his back is just another form of crotch display. It shows it's pulling the hands behind the crotch. So the most dominant part of his manhood is essentially what's presented. But the really upsetting part comes in about half a beat. Keep watching Kanye and watch how his face changes as we hit play now.
The most dominant part of his body physical display. You got to think of why that will be an issue with their healing as far as that's concerned. But also, this is an energetic pull as well in these different displays, exposing and pulling and drawing off of that energy of nudity, showing some of the skin as far as your posture is concerned, and ultimately her as a vessel of siphoning energy.
Stop.
We tend to think that our spirit is in our body. Body is in your spirit. I've been working in the world of energy for 25 years, so I want to give you a little taste about what energy work is for, but I don't want to just talk to you about it. I want you to experience it for yourself. People always tell me, oh, I don't have intuition, or I can't tune in, or I don't feel things. I say, no, that's not true at all. You just have too much noise around you. Because the truth is, everybody is intuitive. Everyone is a healer, and everyone is a medium. This is a normal part of being human. We live in a dual world. Most of the time we're creating in the material world, there's also a whole energetic or spiritual world too. And because everything is energy, if there's any problem that you're having, whether it's your health, your relationship, or your career, the reason why you're not getting there is not because you're not taking physical world steps. It's because you don't know how to use the energy. How do you speed up synchronicities? How do you manifest better? How can you tap into your intuition? The universe wants to bring you all the abundance, all the love, all the success, everything.
Hello.
Stop. That big smile shows that he's in control and pleased with the results of what's happening right now in the middle of a crotch display to the crowd while he is demonstrating the obedience, the beauty, the woman he brought to this event.
In my pocket, so I always had a piece of you in my possession.
So this is another one that we're gonna go over. You guys are gonna listen to, but you can also go watch by looking up spotting. It says Spot Lies in 3 Seconds. CIA Spot Tech teaches woman to decode control. And gaslighting fast. Pretty much.
I'm 100% a cannibal. I want to eat you. I'm scary to admit. I've never admitted that before. It was that stuff which
so
keep me in my pocket. So be my slave. You said
a night show host is pretty much going to ask this well-known person for whatever he's done about some things that he was called out on and ultimately put on display. And of course, police did not hold him accountable. But we're going to go through what the CIA is going to disclose about him and his mannerisms.
Appearing to have a comeback. So bring up this video and play it.
Yeah,
I don't even know what to say. I literally don't know what to say about this.
You just live to obey me and be my slave. You said to her, I will own you as my soul, my brain, my spirit, my body. Would you come and be my property till you die? If I wanted to cut off one of your toes and keep it with me in my pocket, so I always had a piece of you in my possession. I'm 100% a cannibal. I want to eat you. I'm scary to admit. I've never admitted that before. That stuff, which obviously blew off around America and around the world. Armie Hammer, I'm a cannibal. In your own words.
Right.
Let's first of all address that elephant in the room. Are you?
No. You know what you have to do to be a cannibal? You have to have actually eaten someone.
Have you ever eaten any human flesh?
No.
Not a question I thought I'd ever ask them.
Not a question I never thought I'd have to answer, by the way. But no, never.
What do you feel that a large swathe of the public just think Armie Hammer is a cannibal?
If you believe that, I have a bridge to sell you.
All right. Do you want to watch it again now on the button?
Yeah, let's watch it again
let's
with
do
the
it.
button keyed up.
You just live to obey me and be my slave. You said to her,
Pause. So I'm stopping right away because he knows where this question is going. This is why we call it a hot seat. You're sitting in a hot seat because you can't hold still. So you see him reach behind him, reach up on the table, reach back behind him again. You see him looking down. You see him adjusting his cuffs. This is a man in a hot seat. He is uncomfortable with the question that he knows is coming. So he's making a decision right now.
Guilty.
Do I go with this interview in real time, or do I fall back on
Hello,
some
hi.
agreed behavior that has been coordinated with my attorneys and coordinated with my trainer, my coach, whatever it might be? So he's making that decision right now, which is why he can't make eye contact with peers. Go ahead.
you as my soul, my brain, my spirit, my body. Would you come and be my property till you die?
Pause. So the drinking.
This is called a preparatory gesture.
Huh?
He knows he's going to speak soon. He knows that he wants to sound confident. He knows that he needs to communicate clearly. If he is preparing to lie, he's feeling dry mouth. If he's not preparing to lie, he's still preparing himself to put up a defense that he knows is being recorded, that he wants to be strong. So we're still, like I said, we're still seeing the discomfort of the question, but this to me is not a sign of lying as much as it is a preparatory sign that he is preparing to deliver a response.
Property till you die. If I wanted to cut off one of your toes and keep it with me in my pocket, so I always had a piece
Let me
of
pause
you
for a
in my
second
possession.
again. If we can go back just a second or two, after he takes that sip of water, you'll see he holds the water in his mouth. So it's not just a drink for hydration, it's a drink to hydrate his lips and his tongue. The hand that was on top of the table, there used to be two hands, now they're both under the table. They're very likely under the table because there's a shake, right? There's pressure coming from this question. You've got this artificial backwards lean. You see how Piers is leaning forward, but Armie is leaning back. So we're not seeing mirrored body language, which means that Armie is feeling the pressure coming from the direction of Piers, and he is choosing to try to retreat as far from it as he can. He's lowering his arms in an effort to possibly subconsciously cover vulnerable areas, hide a shake, demonstrate a false sense of confidence, but this is not true confidence. True confidence would look like Piers.
All right.
I'm 100% a cannibal. To eat you, I'm scary to admit. I've never admitted that before. It was
Pause.
that.
What does it mean that he just did a little smirk when Piers did something that was horrifying?
You're seeing a discrepancy between how you would expect someone to respond versus how they're actually responding. That shows us that he's heard this before. And it also shows you how not seriously he takes the accusation. Well, Armie knows something we don't know. He knows whether or not he ever said that statement. He knows whether he said that statement drunk, whether he said it high, whether he said it on ayahuasca. He knows whether it was never said or if it was a misinterpretation. He actually said, "I'm an animal," and it came across as "I'm a cannibal." We don't really know what actually happened.
Autocorrect.
My wife's name is Jihi. Every time I talk to my phone and I call her Jihi, it says jihad.
Oh, God.
So I can only imagine how many times I love jihad appears.
As a CIA guy as well, that must be terrible.
But we're getting at the, like, this is what's really happening. So you're right. There's an incongruency between the accusation and the face that's on Armie. When you look at that as a viewer watching this for the first time, we're like, that's not appropriate. But when you look at it from his point of view, this is the 15th, 18th, 25th, 300th time he's heard this. So the smirk is now defensive. As he's preparing to respond, he's getting defensive to make sure he can present a unified, confident response.
How can you tell the difference between it being defensive or being out of insecurity? Because I think of people that laugh at funerals. And people that laugh at funerals say it's the only way I can handle my nerves. So from the outside, it feels like, are you happy this person died? Because if it's you, you would cry. How do we know right now? Okay, I don't necessarily want to defend him. I don't even know if it's true or not. But how do we know it's out of defensiveness and not out of just pure uncomfortableness that he's talking to peers about cannibalism?
When it's natural discomfort, it's usually the intensity of the response that gives it away. So you'll see a large spike in the intensity. So if you go back just a few seconds when he's asking him if he's a cannibal, the smirk is very mild. The face is very flat. There is an eye movement, but the eye movement is not a blink. It's just a simple shift. Like, these are very subdued, nuanced behaviors. Whereas if it was a big deal, you'd see like big eyes, big facial gestures. You'd see some sort of dramatic, this is really uncomfortable and I don't know how to process this right now. But that's not what we're saying. Your friend who laughs at funerals. I had a friend who laughed during the dissection of a frog in middle school. It was the strangest thing. Like, they just burst out laughing and it didn't make any sense at all. And then after they were done laughing for about 3.5 seconds, they fainted.
Oh, God. So it was a big spike and then a plummet.
Exactly.
Got it. Wow, that's so good.
Play?
Which obviously blew off around America and around the world. Armie Hammer, I'm a cannibal, in your own
Armie
words.
Hammer.
Pause. So you're still seeing very subdued
Lord
reactions. You're
mercy.
seeing the flat face. You're seeing the eye contact. He is steeled right now for a response. There's going to be an element here in just a few seconds that puts the actual last nail in the coffin that he is preparing a canned response. But I want you to see it, the consistency so far, and then Piers is about to do something that shows how skilled he is as an interviewer. And in that skilled question from Piers, you're going to see that Armie is inside of a box, and that's where he was told to stay. So go ahead and hit play.
Make lunch with me while I tell you all the things I do not do with my money.
Inside of a box, and that's where he was told to stay. So go ahead and hit play.
Let's first of all address that elephant in the room. Are you a cannibal?
No. You know what you have to do to be a cannibal? You have to have actually eaten something.
Have you
Pause
ever?
there. That's a very weird response.
Yeah.
Like, if you say to me, Lisa, were you a cannibal? I would not explain to you the meaning of a cannibal. I was like, are you crazy? Like, why would I eat a human being? So the fact that he responded like that, what can we make of that?
It shows that it's a trained response that was given to him because when whoever his coach was, whether it was an attorney or whether it was a speaking coach or something else, they addressed him by saying, when you get this question, the first thing we have to do is make it absolutely ridiculous. How do you make it ridiculous? By reminding everybody who's listening what it takes to be defined as a cannibal. And you can see in his face again, he's so defensive in his lean back. He's so calm in his demeanor. It's so incongruent with the conversation that you know he's in a very comfortable place responding to predetermined questions. Frankly, the only reason this interview may have been approved is because his agent insisted that the questions be shared with him in advance. So he may have already rehearsed this whole interview
Yes, you're so right.
before it started.
Uh-huh.
So he's just going through the motions. And you're seeing that in that flat response.
Oh, that's so good. Coming up.
That is hugely a lie, a fabrication, something that is not truly how you
Skin as dark as possible because it would hide the blemishes, it would hide all the spots that I didn't want anyone to see. Now the problem is, as you get older, the sun does the opposite. Instead of hiding things, it actually makes it worse. So you better believe now I don't go anywhere without my OneSkin sun cream. It has minimal SPF, it has antioxidants like vitamin C and OS1 peptide. So don't do damage to your skin, protect your body, protect the thing that we love the most, and treat it right with OneSkin. OneSkin is the world's first skin longevity company. By focusing on the cellular aspect of aging, OneSkin keeps your skin looking and acting younger for longer. For a limited time, you can try OneSkin with 15% off using code LISA at oneskin.co. That's 15% off oneskin.co with code LISA. After you purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support your show. and tell them we sent you. That's Women of Impact.
Go ahead and hit play.
Have you ever eaten any human flesh?
No.
Not a question I thought I'd ever ask them.
Not a question I'd ever thought I'd have to answer, by the way. But no, never.
Did you see what that next question was?
No.
Can you go back one frame in text just so we can see what Pierce says?
No, never.
Pause. What do you fear? What do you
Oh no, what am I missing?
what
What
is
do you feel?
feel?
Ah.
Really skilled journalists, really skilled intelligence officers and interrogators understand something known as the feeling question. The feeling question. Because a feeling question immediately elicits an emotion. If you don't get an emotional response to a feeling question, you know the person is lying.
Oh.
You know that they're lying. You don't know what the emotion is, right? But a feeling question is asking the person to think of something that makes them have an emotion. Can I use you as a guinea pig?
Yes, please.
All right. Tell me about one of the most emotionally important movies you've ever seen. Whether you're a kid or an adult, maybe it was a drama, maybe it wasn't, but what was something that you know was a movie that really triggered your emotions?
The Notebook.
The Notebook.
Yeah.
What was it like the first time you watched The Notebook? Stop. That's all we needed right there.
What did I do?
What happened is you had a wave of emotion.
I did.
And it came out
Dude,
so
I
clear over your
did.
face.
Yeah.
He just asked a question that says, what do you feel? And we'll hit play and watch the rest of his question and then watch Army's response. Tell me if you see an emotion at all. Go ahead and hit play.
You feel that a large swathe of the public just think Armie Hammer is a cannibal.
If you believe that, I have a bridge to sell you.
No emotion. He asked a feeling question. He said, how do you feel that a large swath of Americans think that you're a cannibal? No emotion at all. No sense in his face.
Total
no sense in his demeanor, no
disconnect.
sense in his hand gesticulations. No sense in his tone. That is hugely indicative of a lie, a fabrication, something that is not truly how you feel. The answer, if you believe that, I have a bridge to sell you. That's not answering, right? So for sure, Armie is hiding how he feels about the fact that America thinks he's a cannibal.
Thank you guys for the like, share, subscribe.
I don't
Thank
know if you
y'all.
guys want to react to this at all, but there were Instagram DMs that he was sending to a woman, and they got leaked. She leaked them.
Oh, so we actually have them? Oh, yes. Yes.
He was sending messages to a lady on Instagram, and she leaked the messages, him saying that he wanted to enslave her and eat her and all this other shit, like literally eat her. And this one is interesting. I was like, oh my God. And it's like, bro, some people just need a lie to test or something.
Yes. Do you want to put them on screen?
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's
Put them
killer.
on screen. I can read them. Well done.
That's great.
Oh.
Instagram.
No. Like, as if that's safe. Like, you think the Instagram DMs are safe? Jesus. I don't even think texts to my husband are safe. So let's bring it up. I want to read it.
This feels so.
Especially after you just
This
broke
feels
that
so
down.
private.
I know.
It's like looking at someone's phone.
I know. We're putting it all over YouTube. Sorry, Army.
Yeah, he put it all over you too.
That's true. All right, so let's just read this out loud. So Armie Hammer put, oh my God, that just made me so hard, and it makes me confused as to why. Is that even possible? So hard, thinking of holding your heart in my hand and controlling when it beats. I am 100% a cannibal. I want to eat you. Fuck, that's scary to
Oh my
admit.
gosh.
I've never admitted that before. I've cut the heart out of a living animal before and eaten it while still warm. Now, has this been verified that this is actually true?
I was gonna say, that is
Yeah, so these were part of like the original court documents that
Oh.
came out, and then LAPD declined to press charges.
wow.
All right,
LAPD.
so this has been verified in the courts that it is true. So here's the thing. I don't even know what to make of this. If he hasn't actually eaten someone, it's not illegal because he hasn't actually done it.
Right. There's a lot of context here. This conversation didn't come after one sip of wine.
Okay, no, you're
So there's context. We
you're
don't know what
right.
that context is.
You're right.
We don't know whether cannibal is some kind of inside reference to something other than a human being who eats other human beings. I think that what's really weird to me is, as a parent, and I think parents will agree, even though this might sound weird in this conversation. We all talk about kids being so cute, we want to eat them.
I was gonna say, I say that about my dogs. If you read a text to me from me to Tom at one point where I'm like, oh my God, Smith's so cute, I want to freaking eat her. Like, but that's how I'm feeling.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's a weird way we can kind of relate to maybe what he was trying to get across, right? Instead of being literal cannibal, he was like, you're so sexy, I want to eat you. I don't know. There's context here I can't speak to.
If it stopped there, though, right? Like, thinking of holding your heart.
More text if you want.
Oh, okay.
We definitely
All right. So my producer is springing this on me. She's now saying we've got more texts. Bring them up. Guys, just seeing this for the first time. I haven't even read them.
I find it so powerful that what we saw in just a few seconds of interview was telling enough that we were on the right path. We were identifying signs of deceit in the interview that are now proving true on the screen.
Yeah, so true. So you've seen the body language, we've seen the DM, and so now it just keeps going. You just live to obey and be my slave. I will own you. That's my soul, my brain, my spirit, my body. Would you come and be my property till you die? If I want to cut off one of your toes and keep it with me in my pocket, so I always had a piece of you in my possession. So that's the part that Piers read out. You just live to obey and be my slave. What the fuck?
There's absolutely a kink out there that likely fills a lot of these checkboxes. But that whole dominant, submissive kind of kinky sexual world, that's the whole slave ownership, be my property. I can see that in there, and that's fully consensual, right, in that space. At the end of the day, he lied to Piers Morgan, and we're seeing the truth of it now. And that's what we can equip people to do, is see the lie before you see the proof.
And, like, I want to cut off one of your toes? Like, again, I don't know the dynamic. That could seem like a threat.
When you look at those two lines, if I wanted to cut off one of your toes and keep it with me, blah, 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 it's almost like the second question is a verification or validation of the first question. So I can see, first of all, why the LAPD would have to drop charges, because how are you going to prove any of this is anything
Careful
illegal?
what you consent to.
Yeah, plus he's requesting it. He's not saying,
legally sound. So we will continue to see this. When something outlandish happens, the answer is no, I didn't do it, until proof, irrefutable proof is presented, and then I did it, but it was this offshoot. People will always lie. People will always do crazy things. People have their fetishes, they have their kinks, they have their interests, they make their mistakes in moments of being drug-induced or being angry. We can't fight that. What we can do is give ourselves the skills to identify when we're being lied to. And of all the things that we saw with Army, the most powerful to me is that in just a few seconds, we were able to break down his behavior in a clear way that made us not trust that what he was saying was true.
So 100%, 150% that he's definitely lying about everything.
I mean, as far as him being a cannibal, scale of 1 to 10, I don't know.
Yeah.
As far as him being a liar, and a bad liar at that, he's a 10 out of 10.
Can't be a travel advisor without quitting.
10 out of 10 and good enough for me to be like, fuck me.
To James Franco. So just for context, so James Franco was accused of harassment at his acting school during a class that he named How to Do a Sex Scene. And so what I want to know is...
These motherfuckers, and this is going to be the last one, because this is the last one I watched, and I was just like, duh, bro, I'm done. Like... After you sell your soul and you just do so much, bro, it's like being empty. Like, they don't have no love. They've done things to like compromise themselves, so they be like, fuck it, I'll never get caught. Not knowing it's already been a trap set for theirs. Like, it's crazy. It gets crazy.
is this just him being a great actor teaching other people, or is this actually sexual deviance? And so I want to show you a clip of him being asked specifically about the accusations.
Okay.
The stupidest thing I did, or one of the stupidest things I did at the school was...
And mind you, this is the guy from The Interviewer, the movie.
I called one of my classes a master class, sex scenes. It was not about sex scenes. I was not teaching people how to do sex scenes or intimate scenes or anything of that nature. It was a provocative title. When the lawsuit...
That's what I was going to say, but he knew the energy he was calling in, though. It's just a lot like how they say they put pizza or something and they mean they're talking about kids.
Filed. The plaintiff's attorneys said this is their assessment of what happened. He was looking to create a pipeline, James Franco was looking to create a pipeline of young women who would be subjected to his personal and professional sexual exploitation in the name of education. That's obviously very different than what you just told me. But why would someone have at least that perception, and why would they accuse you of that?
Look, I'll admit, I did sleep with students. I didn't sleep with anybody in that particular class, but over the course of my teaching, I did sleep with students, and that was wrong. But like I said, it's not why I started the school. And
So I got to stop it here. Even though I'm sure there's more content, his body language is communicating honesty. It's really compelling how much of his body language is showing honesty. Without, admittedly, I don't know James Franco's baseline. I don't know what his normal behavior is. But when I look at his micro expressions, when I look at his physical gestures, when I look at the consistency, the pacing of the story, it's not rehearsed. It seems like he doesn't have specific talking points. He is expressing and even admitting fault along the way. So from just this clip, he seems to be telling the truth, that he did not intend for the interpretation that came from the plaintiffs. I still don't know how to close that gap yet, but it's clear that as he sits there giving this interview, he is showing signs of fabrication.
I wasn't the person that selected the people to be in the class. So it wasn't a master plan on my part. But yes, there were certain instances where, you know what, I was in a consensual thing with a student, and it shouldn't have been.
I think some people listening to this will say, how could you not see a teacher who's not just is James Franco?
I want to kind of explain to y'all what just happened, because there was like I heard footsteps, and then I was like, let me go set my alarm. And I just had remembered after I came back to sit down, after I set my alarm, that I'm actually charging my front door bell camera. And I was like, oh shit. So yeah. Hopefully I ain't gotta.
Like a very, very famous, powerful actor and producer and a student. How did that power imbalance, how were you not aware of that?
I suppose at the time, my thinking was, if it's consensual, okay.
Pause. That's the first time we've seen him show signs of lying.
Oh!
So if you'll rewind just a few seconds to the end of that question, what I want you to do is watch his eyes as he considers how to answer the question. And you'll see a significant change in what we call the blink rate, how fast his eyes blink. You'll see a significant change between what we just watched for the last 3 minutes versus as he's contemplating how he wants to respond to this, you'll see his blink start to increase. Go ahead.
I suppose.
So we just saw 7 blinks in about 8 or 9 seconds. Now he's going to answer the question. Now continue watching his eyes. Go ahead.
At the time, my thinking was, if it's consensual, okay.
Stop there. Pause there. You see how his eyes stopped blinking? So what we saw there was he had just gotten done defending himself with consensual relationships. Then he was being asked a question where the host was saying, how could you have not thought of this? He was deciding, do I answer this question or do I fall back on the thing that I just said? He is misdirecting. He's going to answer the question with misinformation. But is he going to do it by coming up with something new, which is what he was considering with the high blink rate, or is he going to fall back on what he already knows? The fact that he stopped blinking afterwards shows us, most likely, he fell back on the previous answer, even though it wasn't exactly a response to the original question.
Oh, that was so good. That was so good. I don't know how you saw that, but that totally missed me. That's so good.
Go ahead and hit play again if you want to finish it, Lisa.
Yeah.
You know, talk to other people, teachers or whatever, like, yeah, it's probably not a cool thing. At the time, I was not clear-headed, as I've said, so.
See, he said he talked to other teachers and other. Yeah, I talked to y'all about this before. Yo, student-teacher dynamic is a hell no.
I guess it just comes down to my criteria.
Same I
You saw it again.
I saw it.
You saw he turned away and he was like, where do I go with this? Where do I go with this? Where do I go with this? Right back to the consent thing.
And that's not because he's just uncomfortable answering the question. You think that's specifically lying?
That is a sign where he is considering whether or not to lie. So he is creating a story in his head that is related to the question that he was just asked. And that's where the blinking comes from, is the creativity. But then he's choosing not to get creative. He's choosing to fall back on his talking point. So if you recall, when I interrupted us at about a minute and a half in, I was like, this guy seems like he knows, like he's.
Y'all, hold on. I'm about to go put my camera back on. And then I forget to turn the thing. I always do that. Sometimes. Oh, God.
He's not lying. He's not showing signs of lying. I would still say he's not showing signs of lying. He is showing that he is considering lying at multiple times throughout this interview.
Oh, that's so good.
If this is consensual, I think it's cool. We're all adults, so.
Ooh.
If this is consensual, I think it's cool. We're all adults, so.
All right, can we actually watch the first minute again, and then we can do some stops? There's one more section that I want to stop at.
Contemporary romance or something like that. It was a class where they did scenes about whatever their romances and their, what they go through as young people. So meeting people on, dating apps or breakups or, just a bad date, stuff like that. That's what was being done in that class. It was not sex scenes.
When the lawsuit was filed, the plaintiff's attorneys.
So stop for a second. It definitely seemed like he was genuinely saying, it was not supposed to be this. Gave it this sexy headline. We all make mistakes in hindsight when someone points something out. You're like, oh, what was I thinking? That's kind of how that moment felt. Yes, I did this. What was I thinking?
The other thing I want to do a real quick experiment with you, so you can also see what you're seeing here, right? So, tell me about your favorite course in college.
Oh, in college.
We're going to actually watch one more because he had a very interesting video after this one. I forgot.
It was filmmaking. It was when I first realized that you...
Stop. So, for the post editors, I want you guys to notice when she stopped looking down and to the left, as she was referencing her memories, it was filmmaking. What was it? Once she landed on the memory, her eyes went up and to the right. So for the post-edit team, capture that. Because that's how you know when someone is referencing true historical fact. Because they're referencing chronologically the same way they read. So they look up, right? They look up and to the left. So what happened for you is I asked you, what did you study in college? You immediately looked to your left. You immediately referenced the chronology of what was my favorite class. Let me think about it. Almost like you're going backwards in a timeline. So as soon as I asked you the question, you immediately went to reference left. And then you thought about it, you thought about it, and then when you found it, your eyes came up.
Yeah.
Right? So it was almost like going through a library index, and then, eureka!
Eureka, that's so true.
So that's what you just did.
Yeah.
When you watch this clip with James Franco, he's trying to remember, and he's looking left. It was just a class. We were talking about social media and dating and breakups. You can see him looking, referencing his chronology, not referencing his imagination, which is if someone looks to the right, they're trying to get something new. But he was looking to the left, which is referencing something from the past.
Oh, that's so good. Really? Okay, play.
He was looking to create a pipeline, James Franco was looking to create a pipeline of young women who would be subjected to his personal and professional sexual exploitation in the name of education.
The hell? That's weird. Okay. That's still weird because the sound stopped. Wow.
Look, I'll admit, I did sleep with students. I didn't sleep with anybody in that particular class.
Pause. It felt like that moment where he was like, oh, God. All right, just say it.
Yeah.
Which makes it feel true.
I agree with you. And the fact that he's admitting error here shows that either he's being honest or he is being very strategically communicative, where it's something that the technique is called peeling the onion. When you peel the onion, when you admit to a lesser fault, right? So I'm going to say, oh, yeah, I did that, because then you're going to be like, sweet. I knew you were lying. I knew you were a sexual predator. So I win, we're done. Even though there's like 5 more layers of the onion that you could peel before you get to center. That strategy is a strategy that is used anywhere from the courtroom to the espionage field to try to get closer to the truth. When you're digging for the truth, you never want to fall for someone who's peeling the onion. When you are trying to keep a secret, you will be the one who's the most skilled at peeling the onion. So make it feel like you're admitting something when you're really still hiding.
So that moment felt very true, but you don't know if that's just peeling the onion, where he's saying, fine, I'll admit this one.
Yes.
God, understood.
You don't know for sure. It seems very true based off of all the other evidence in this clip. However, we don't have the full context.
Yeah. Okay. There's one more thing. Play.
But over the course of my teaching, I did sleep with students. And that was wrong. But like I said, it's not why I started the school. And I wasn't the person that selected the people to be in the class. So
no accountability, first and foremost. And this is a rapid fire of people in authority abusing their authority. They know. He knows he is a famous actor, well known. He has money. He has the know-how. And to take less of accountability, had somebody else pick him, so he says. So it's just like overall, like really, bro, we got to be very careful on, who we let into our lives. We got to do our research on them. And if it doesn't line up with what the actual class is, then it's deception.
It wasn't a master plan on my part. But yes, there were certain instances where, you know what, I was in a consensual thing with a student and I shouldn't have been.
I think some people listening to this will say, how could you not see that there would be a power imbalance among a teacher?
Thank you. I'm only going to speak for myself, but Tom was my teacher. Does that make me weak? Did that make me the follower? Did that make Tom the dominant man that ruled over me? And so again, I don't know the situation. Obviously, age matters. How young were his students? How old was he? For me and Tom, there was only 3.5 years difference, but he was still my teacher. And so when I saw this, I feel like there's a conversation that if someone's a teacher and the other person's the student, oh my God, it's manipulation. Most of the time it probably is. But I just don't want a blanket statement because you have me and Tom who was in that situation and there was no dominance, no power play there. I definitely looked up to him, but I didn't feel like because he was the teacher, he ruled over me.
This is where it's so important to use the right vocabulary, right? The host is asking the correct question. Was there a power imbalance? Power is not the same as control, right? There are power imbalances everywhere. When you go to the restaurant, the waiter has power over you. They will determine when you get your food. You don't know when your food's cooked, right?
That's so true.
So there's power imbalances everywhere. And in our society, we are a society that values powerful people. So then there's a secondary subculture there where we look up to powerful people. We don't look up to our waiter or our waitress. That's not somebody that we look up to, but maybe the chef, that is somebody we look up to, right? That's a power imbalance. Doesn't mean the chef controls our every behavior, right? And you even have here James Franco saying it was a consensual thing. Well, that's exactly what you're describing with Tom. It was a consensual thing. We don't know the case, whether or not their consent happened at the end of class, on day 2 of class. Did it add to nepotism in the grading process? We have no idea, right? And only you know those secrets about what your relationship was like with Tom. But there's power imbalances everywhere. People make more money, people make less money, people are older, people are younger, people speak more languages, people have more education. There's power imbalances. People are taller, people are shorter. And oftentimes, we appreciate the power imbalance because it gives us a chance to find people who are strong where we know we're weak. That doesn't mean anyone is being controlled.
All right, so based on what you've seen, James Franco, is he just an amazing actor who's trying to build his career and made a silly mistake, or is he a sexual deviant?
I am going to give him a 3 out of 10 on the sexual deviancy scale, only because I'm building in assumptions that as a powerful actor, he has definitely abused his access to people. But based off of this wasn't one of those instances where he was outrageously abusive.
That's what I was going to say. Where's that fine line between, yes, I'm famous, yes, I'm good looking, I'm wealthy, women throw themselves at me, I'm going to take the opportunity. Like, honestly, as a woman, I don't even see that as a problem.
Right.
As long as there's no coercive control. Obviously, like with the Diddy stuff, and we've spoken so much about Diddy, but like that was all coercive control. I don't care how famous you are, rich you are, you don't get to do that. But again, don't know James Franco. But in just seeing that, can you really blame him for sleeping with students if it was consensual and there was no coercive control?
Exactly right. And that's the question that all of us have to answer on a personal level. It's very easy to have a knee-jerk reaction and be like, that's inappropriate, you should never do it.
Oh, yeah.
But then when you actually put yourself in their shoes, if you actually knew what it was like to walk down the street and be recognized immediately and be very wealthy and be very successful, and every party you go to is better than the best party the average person goes to. And that is exactly the kind of person that we all want to connect with. And part of that connection is physical. So I don't feel like you can just leap to the conclusion that he is a sexual predator simply because he is a famous, good-looking actor.
Yeah, and I'm just going to be honest. If I was single, 21, and James Franco was my teacher and he wanted to sleep with me, sorry guys, I would probably say yes. Yeah. He's so handsome, and I wouldn't have expected anything. Again, if I was to do it, it was because I want to, I'm not being controlled. Yeah. But like that's why when I saw it, I just again never want to excuse a man for doing bad behavior. But I never want to just blanket think that it's true. So thank you for breaking that down.
Absolutely.
Coming up.
And I would argue that she's coming from the position of power because she led the way out. She responded to the touch.
There's a purpose.
Do you want to take a second to touch on something that I think is really important?
What we could also be seeing is an element of a very sensitive creative, who's the director, trying to meet the artist where the artist is, but still understanding that at the end of the day, it's his movie. Mm-hmm. So there's another level of relationship here, professional speak, right? Camera.
Or was that on a different video?
Unsettled if I training me, teaching my community how to make sure. Yeah, you want to cut in?
And this is, to me, this is a second example of what we saw around 1 minute in when she initiates this turn. She's escaping him. She's giving herself space. Even if
Yeah, this is a different one than the one that I watched. Let's see. Let's see if I can find it real quick. I think it's this one. Yeah, it is.
Stop. What you'll see is she'll consistently look down.
Was it this one?
CIA spy, you're going to help us spot this.
She has her own.
I swear it was that video.
Because of bad fucking men. Right?
Maybe it was not this. It's a dimmer. I'm so confused. Oh. Yo. I'm like, what? September, Jesus. September, October, November. It's straight October and November. Straight skip October. Might not be able to find that one. But he was telling a story about how he
not showing signs of lying. I would still say he's not showing signs of lying, but he is showing that he is considering lying at multiple times throughout this interview.
Oh, that's okay.
If this is consensual, like, I think it's cool.
Quick experiment with you. So you can also see.
Like I said, it's not why I started the school. And I wasn't the person that selected the people to be in the class. So it wasn't a master plan on my part. But yes, there were certain instances where
Coercive control. I don't care how famous you are, rich you are, you don't get to do that. But again, don't know James Franco. But in just seeing that, can you
Herself to keep him out.
Oh.
So whatever they're verbally communicating at the same time is very likely related to the touching that they have, but you're actually seeing how they're not on the same page.
That's the one that I wanted to see.
Into a thought, to a conversation, to him, she's keeping herself out of whatever his thought is, whatever his point is, or their physical proximity. So you can see that there's not a shared dynamic here. And I would argue that she's coming from the position of power because she led the way out. She responded to the touch. This is not a woman who is getting pushed around. This is a woman.
There was a video. Why it's so important. He was talking about the dynamics of different CIA undercover agents from foreign countries coming here. That was an important one. I really wanted to watch that one. Okay. I gotta find it. Hold on, y'all. Shoot. That was a really good one. I mean, View 6. I think it was this one. CIA.
Spy, you were professionally trained in relationship and trust building. So what
Yeah, it
tactics
was
do men
this
use to
one. Okay, I'm gonna stop this one. We're gonna start another one. Hitting y'all up. Stay graceful, loving, peace, deep breaths. They save lives. Feet to grass and hug a tree. Never give up because that's too